Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and patch 11.25 is coming out so soon, and it's going to be a patch. It's going to be a huge catch-up update for the tail end of the War Within expansion. We all know that Legion Remix is going to be a pretty big sell of this update, which I'm super excited for, but we also know there's going to be a huge boost when it comes to gearing out a character for the final season of War Within as well, with the turbo boost making a return for Season 3. A unique event that unshackles players' ability to progress their character in power as well as in gear, and just allows them to fully kit out their character unimpeded. No more time gates, you're just allowed to grind out all of the currency you need in order to get your gear fully upgraded. They're also increasing the amount of ranks you get for upgrading your gear so that you can carry to be as powerful as ever for the end of the season. There's going to be a gear vendor that'll be arriving apparently at some point in the future, valor stones transferable to your alts, an opportunity for you to earn additional charges for the catalyst, just from doing endgame activities, and so much more. And I want to go over all of these different features that are going to be made available as a catch-up in order for you to finalize and finish out Season 3 of War Within Headstrong ahead of the Midnight expansion. As always, if you guys want to keep up with additional content updates for War Within with the patch 11.25 right around the corner, or if you want to see other guides like a Turbo Boost gearing guide whenever the event finally drops, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So one of the biggest catch-ups that's coming out for Turbo Boost, the returning event for Season 3, is Valor Stones and Crests are going to be unshackled, for the best way to put it. Like, one of the currencies that is necessary for everybody is Valor Stones. Those will become, at some point, transferable, and back in Season 2, it was super nice, great quality of life feature, especially if you had a pretty geared main character, but a bunch of alts you were trying to get up and running. Valor Stones are necessary for crafting gear and upgrading basic items, and they're just necessary, and it feels like you're always out of them. So being able to transfer from your main onto alt so they're not just sitting there collecting dust and being wasted was super nice. There was a tax on it, however, like when it comes to PvP currencies, transferring honor, there was like 20% of it was lost in transfer, like a tax for transferring it from one character to another. They implemented the same taxation, I guess, onto Valor Stones transfer for all of your characters. I don't know if that's what they're gonna do, if they're gonna do that again. I hope not, because it is the final season, right? Season 3 is the final season for War Within, so hopefully they'll just be a little bit more, you know, a little bit more free-flowing and free-going with it without adding an extra, you know, a layer of lost currency, which would be unfortunate, but wouldn't be surprising. Crests should also have literally no caps on them whatsoever. At some point, they do remove caps on crests so you can farm gildeds and ruined and all the crests you need, which is great because it allows you to endlessly farm them in order to be able to craft all of your gear and upgrade all of your current items without any time gating. That is the best part of the system. It will definitely feel pretty grindy, especially if you're somebody who's looking to get your main character geared all the way head to toe, maxed out completely. It is definitely going to feel like a pretty big farm for the first week, but if you're somebody who can space it out over a number of days, over like 2 weeks potentially, and really work on a character to get them fully kitted out without any stopgaps whatsoever, which is super nice. It's going to be nice to get your main up and running, and potentially going to be really good if you're trying to get some alts up and running, or if you're looking to potentially main switch for the rest of the season in preparation for Midnight, for instance. Another thing that we'll be getting as part of this turbo boost is gear is going to go up a couple of ranks, and normally gear caps out from like 6 different upgrades, but they're increasing it by 2 extra. So all of your mythic items will be able to go to an 8 out of 8 mythic, which is 730 item level, the same item level as the Reishi wraps, the cloak that everybody's using right now, the artifact cloak from Koresh update. So the item level of your character's gear is going to go up significantly. It's a huge boost in terms of just raw quality of life on that front specifically, and it's going to be happening for both hero track gear as well as mythic track gear. Everything is going to go up by a couple extra item levels in terms of its maximum ranks as well, so everybody is just getting higher item level gear. Whether you're someone who plays the game more casually with just a bunch of hero track items, those are going to be pretty close to mythic track quality fully upgraded, and mythic item level gear is going to be able to, or mythic track gear is going to be able to reach the highest item levels available, which means your character grows stronger for all of the dungeon, raid, and delve and open world content that you get to engage with, which means a pretty big power spike for everybody else all across the board. And for those of you that have a bunch of crafted gear, normally you get to upgrade crafted gear with an enchanted gilded crest. Like, let's say you're trying to get some of the best gear out there, which gives you an item level of 720 maximum. But those crafted pieces, you'll be able to recraft them to upgrade them even further. You'll do this with 30 gilded crests or potentially 15 rune crests, but really you should just focus on the gilded crest upgrade more than anything, which will be able to boost the item level of crafted gear by 6 extra item levels. So you're looking at 626 item level crafted pieces, which is going to be pretty good. So you'll also be able to use the currency of gilded crests and crests in general to upgrade even your crafted gear, so all of your items are going to see significant headway gain once the turbo boost is officially here. Now, another type of gear that will start to drop more regularly from all forms of endgame content is warbound gear, as they're going to be increasing the drop rates for those items specifically, which are items that are not necessarily bound to your character, but bound to your warband. So these are all the pieces of gear, from trinkets, weapons, and all these other things that you can just store in your bank for later, and then equip on in your alt characters that you choose to level later down the line, which is really cool. And I think it's one of the better features that they've added so far, because you can get tier set tokens, you can get a bunch of trinkets, you can get a bunch of items that you can just share with all of your alts afterwards while you are working on your main character, maybe working on that mythic plus score for seasonal rewards, or finally finishing out some of those endgame mythic raid bosses for those achievements and potentially the mythic mount. While you're working on those seasonal rewards, you'll be able to get more warbound gear to share with all of your alt characters, which is massive. They're going to be dropping from more warband gear is going to be dropping from Mythic Plus as well as raids, helping gear out your alts. And I feel like it's one of those pieces of content or pieces of gearing opportunities that a lot of people sleep on, especially when it comes to Mythic raids, because Mythic raids drop hero track warband items, the highest track available. Hopefully, maybe they'll increase the item level drop to hero track across everybody. Like if you do super high end Mythic Plus dungeons, like I don't know, if you're doing, I don't know, 15s and above or something, maybe there they should start dropping hero track items for your alts to use. That will be something really cool to see. Maybe even get some hero track gear from delves as well, so everybody can benefit from this system. But either way, warbound gear does mean potentially better opportunities to gear out all of your alts. Also, later down the line, we are going to be getting a gear vendor, and I'm assuming the gear vendor is going to be right about here, right under this little crystal torch light fixture, because it's not necessarily a flame or anything, but it's going to be very similar to the Undermine and how we had a gear vendor for Undermine as well, which will essentially allow us to get 2 NPCs, Fixer Sokir and Fixer Sotho, which will come to Dornogal offering powerful items, trinkets, and cantrip items from all of the Season 3 dungeons and raids, where you'll just have to complete a weekly objective for puzzling cartel ships, which if it's like Season 2, you'll probably get 3 of those ships immediately, so you'll be able to instantly buy an item that's going to be best in slot for your character. Previously, these coins, however, were used for as part of bad luck protection rather than a just direct vendor purchase. Let's say you're trying to gear out your character and you want, I don't know, the Demencius trinket, the Screams of Forgotten Sky, because that's really good for some classes, and maybe you want it on mythic difficulty. What the problem was is you couldn't just walk up and buy the trinket. You first had to kill Demencius at least once in order to be able to purchase the trinket as a bad luck protection guaranteed drop. But because this is the last season of War Within, I wonder if they will relax some of those conditionals this time around, and maybe we'll just allow players to buy any item on mythic track quality, which I think will be super nice, especially if you're someone who's trying to finalize your character for the season, do last minute push for Mythic Plus, all that stuff. Just being able to get some of the best gear from this expansion to take into Midnight during early leveling, I think would be super nice. Everybody would be able to get only a small number of items. Last time it was a limit of 3 items specifically that you can get from these vendors. Likely they'll continue some sort of a limitation as well, unless it changes in the future, but it would be really nice if they were to expand on the system and make it a little bit more generous this time around. But more information will come on those vendors and how they function later down the line. All we know for now is that these vendors are eventually coming out as part of 11.2.5. Now, another currency you're going to be able to obtain during the turbo boost is actually the catalyst currency, which is super unusual, but probably a good thing in general. Normally, when you plug items, if they are of the current season for the catalyst, you'll be able to take those items and convert them into tier set alternatives for this current season. However, we got to charge a catalyst every other week or so. So normally you can only catalyze an item that's like a high-end mythic track piece into a tier piece of gear with a bonus every so often. However, in Turbo Boost for Season 3, you'll now be able to earn the Void Splinters, which is a currency for the Catalyst from delves, raids, dungeons, raid PvP content, and you'll be able to use that as a fuel to charge up the Catalyst early on. So you'll be able to unlock more of these charges for all of your ults in order to be able to catalyze more items. So if you're trying to get yourself a full set of tier set with all the different bonuses, helms, shoulders, chest, legs, and gloves are the ones that award you the tier set specifically. So you'll be able to, as you replace your gear with like hero track to mythic track, catalyze it pretty quickly early on, which will be really, really awesome. Another advantage of using the catalyst is a lot of players, especially when you're someone who plays the game more casually, you won't actually use the catalyst for some of the best gear for the bonuses. You'll actually just go for the sets, like trying to unlock the raid finder set. You could just find some veteran track gear and then catalyze it if you're trying to get that full appearance. Same thing can be done with normal gear. If you have an equivalent like champion track piece from, I don't know, Mythic Zero dungeons or such, you could use that, or potentially from some of the open world events, you could use that to create the recolor of the normal set. Same with the heroic set, as well as same with Mythic. So many more players will be able to not only use it for a power progression, but if you're someone who's trying to complete all of your transmogs for the season for your class, this new change with the catalyst charges that you'll be able to earn from endgame content will even help you complete some of those transmog sets as well, which I think is a huge, awesome change, and hopefully they'll be pretty generous in how often you can earn these ethereal void splinters to fuel the catalyst charges once Turbo Boost is out and about. But with that being said, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like, as well. Very, very much appreciated. Also, be sure to join the community, especially if you want to keep up with any of the featured content updates from Legion Remix, which we'll be putting out guides on whenever that goes out, Turbo Boost, as well as Midnight Alpha, which should hopefully we'll be getting some sort of announcement or an acknowledgement for Blizz hopefully very soon. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.